11 days of the hottest films of the season here first. Passes and packages available now. Follow us for the latest news at Hamptons Film.
Hi everybody, I'm Greg Shimizi here with the Hamptons International Film Festival. It's our 32nd year, believe it or not, and Hamptons TV has been doing this since 1994. I was younger, thinner, and a lot hipper, but we're here anyway, and we're enjoying the filmmakers. We're enjoying the place. It's a beautiful place. So if you're in town, enjoy the films. And today we're going to be interviewing some of the filmmakers here at the Maidstone. And if you get a chance, go to hamptonsfilmfest.org and find out all about the films and where to get tickets and where they're screening. But support films, support the film festival, and it's a great thing to do. So we're going to go inside and take a look at a couple of filmmakers and enjoy the festival. And Viva the Hamptons. I'm here with Jennifer McShane, and it's a beautiful movie, a short, The Quilters, and it's a fascinating story. And you shot in a very difficult place.
Definitely.
So welcome to the festival. This is another difficult place.
Less difficult. Beautiful.
And are you into quilting yourself?
You know, I am now. I wasn't when I made the film, actually. I never was involved in quilting or sewing, but I have to say I was really mesmerized by the work that they were doing, and it's beautiful, and I think very relaxing. I think the men found it kind of a great way to, kind of very zen.
Therapeutic.
Very therapeutic.
The lady that, I'm one of the film commissioners, and the lady that is the head of the film commission is a Diane Cherry Holmes, the name is. She's an award-winning quilter.
Yeah, no, they're stunning. I mean, quilts are really works of art. They really are. They're tremendous, and they take a lot of time and care. And so what I liked about telling this story is that it's a very careful, beautiful art form done in a very unexpected place. So, yeah.
And it requires a lot of patience, a lot of teamwork.
Exactly, all of those things, a lot of collaboration.
And you're dealing with different fragile egos that don't want to give in. No, I think it should be a triangle. No, I think it's a square.
Yeah, they really were quite a team. It felt very much like a kind of like a beehive. Everybody was very busy, working on their own things, but also kind of helping the collective. Mm-hmm. So, and there was a lot of pride, which is something you don't usually come across in a prison. People aren't always have that ability to feel pride.
So let's back up a bit. The prison is located where? First of all, the name of the prison.
Yes, the name of the prison is South Central Correctional in Licking, Missouri. So a very rural area. It's about 2.5 hours from St. Louis, Missouri. And yeah, just a big, large, maximum security men's prison. So not where you would expect to find a quilting group.
Wow. And how did you locate them?
Actually, my editor had seen a little piece about them, and I was just intrigued. I like these kind of stories that are not what you would normally look for.
That's a great story.
Yeah, and what they're making is beautiful, and they give it all away. The mission of one of their projects is to give a personalized birthday quilt to every foster child in the local area.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it has many layers that are kind of redemptive and, beautiful.
and it lasts a long time. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
we've had quilts in town.
Oh, they're
that come
amazing.
from the 1600s.
Oh, they're incredible. And if you know anything about foster care, most of these children don't have much to call their own. So the idea of being given something that's personalized, that's just for them, is pretty amazing, special. So, and it's, I think it's a beautiful journey for people. It's 32 minutes. So I've never done a short before. I've always done
And
feature.
that's the exact attention span of my brother, so it's maybe a little less. But
Exactly.
I'll
So
take him to
no
see it.
excuse not to go.
he's got to go. So it's terrific. And it's a New York premiere, short documentary, U.S. made,
Yeah.
31 minutes in English, my favorite language.
Very
So
handy.
there's-
Very handy. No
And
subtitles.
it's a great thing. So is this your first film?
No, this is actually my third or fourth, but I've never done a short. It's my first short, which is a whole different beast.
It's just as hard as doing a
much,
feature.
maybe harder,
Yeah.
actually.
People don't realize that.
No,
I'm going
it's,
to do a student movie.
oh, it's so hard. And when you want to tell a kind of full, complete experience, a full, complete story in such a short amount of time. So I did find it a challenge, but it was beautiful. This story was meant to be a short. I think it works
And you
better.
shot it on, what, 16 millimeter?
It was a video. It's video digital, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we went and visited the prison multiple times, kind of waiting for certain quilts to be finished, so you get a sense of time. So,
Now the whole procedure takes about months, doesn't it?
yeah, it depends on the quilt design and the quilter. So the really experienced ones would take on very challenging projects, and those would take months. Other ones could do them in a couple of weeks if they were very simple. So it really depended on the sewer and
Where do
the.
you get hold of the fabric and the
Yeah,
sewing
it's
machine?
all donated. It's amazing, which adds to this whole quality of the story because everybody's giving. These guys, some of them are there for life, but they have chosen to find some purpose and do something with that time.
It's remarkable.
And all the fabric is donated from across the country. It's pretty amazing. So they don't, I think the only thing that is bought by the prison is the batting that goes in between the
Yeah.
fabric. But other than that, it's all donated.
And they have the machinery to sew it and everything?
Yeah, and they repair them when they break. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. So it's a strangely inspirational story about, trying to do something powerfully and positive and
Yeah.
purposeful.
And your training, did you go to film school?
I didn't. I didn't, but I did end up making a film many years ago, and that was kind of my film school, my first film.
That's
So,
great.
yeah.
That's very inspiring.
But I'm delighted to be here. It's a beautiful place. I have not spent a lot of time in the Hamptons. It's beautiful.
Well, we'll teach you otherwise, I'll tell you. But Jennifer McShane, and the film is called The Quilters.
And it's going to be at East Hampton, UA Regal. So.
Well, here's the catalog. If you come down, be sure to pick one up. But if you can't come down and pick up the catalog, you can go to hamptonsfilmfest.org and find out about the films. Also to book tickets and to see where the festival is going to have their different events. And it's an action-packed week, so enjoy the film festival. And I'm Greg Shimizi with WVVH-TV, and we've been covering the film festival since 1994. Stay tuned. We're here with Bruce David Klein. Bruce David Klein, it's terrific. It's a law firm, I think, isn't it? Anyway, Mr. Klein, is he in? Anyway, this movie is about the lovely Liza Minnelli.
Liza Minnelli.
Liza with
and
a
you know,
Z.
she has a song called Liza with a Z because for so many years people called her Lisa.
Right.
So, yes, Liza with a Z.
You got it.
Right.
You jumped over the first hurdle, which
Liza
is good.
Minnelli, okay.
You're genuine. So this movie is a documentary feature, and it's in English, my favorite language. And you actually directed it. And did you have an opportunity to, get to know Liza?
Sure. We interviewed her several times. We spent time at her place in L.A. Definitely got to know her and kind of her unique personality. And, she's exactly as you would expect. She is over the top. She is incredible, an incredible friend. It's often said, most of her friends say about her that when you're with her and she looks at you, it feels like you're the only human being in the world. She makes you feel she wants you to be her friend, and that is an incredible attribute.
That is. Nowadays, people look the other way.
They're on their phone. Yeah.
Right. But the movie is intriguing because it's like a different slant on her. It's actually something that the public really doesn't know that much about. And I think you really got into the depth of it. And basically, you made it for the theaters, or you did it for...
Yeah, this will be... I'm not allowed to say because we didn't announce it yet, but yes, this will shortly be in theaters, and then
that's great.
The afterlife after that.
She has some body of work, Cabaret, and it's amazing when you think about it.
Arthur, Cabaret, Liza with a Z. I mean, that's one of the issues always when you approach a character that's bigger than life. What story do you tell? Because literally we could have made 500 different documentaries about Liza. I was saying before how just her that year and a half, 2 years with Studio 54, when she was, really was one of the, high-profile fixtures of Studio 54 with Halston and with Andy Warhol and with Mick Jagger, Bianca Jagger, and all these people.
What a crew.
We could have literally made a film just about
that might be
Liza
the next
at Studio 54.
That might be the next
one. Yeah. There is a short part about Studio 54 in the film. But yeah, I mean, you talked about this idea that it has a different take, and one of the issues when you make a biographical film about a big personality is you have to fight this instinct of making it chronological. It's very boring I think, to go and see a movie that's, they were born in such and such date, then they did this, then they did that movie, then they did this show, then they did that movie. And it has a
negative effect.
And there's a famous term in the industry called cradle to grave.
Right.
It's like here's the cradle. Exactly. So one of the things that I like to do is approach things by letting the material speak to me. And in this case, what we did was we watched thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of Liza singing and interviews and everything like that, looking for that kind of theme. And we kept hearing her say when she was asked historically about people, Bob Fosse, he invented me. And then, blah, blah, Halston, the great designer, he invented me. And we kept hearing this over and over again. So then when I finally got a chance to sit down with her, I said, tell me about Halston, your relationship. He invented me. And that's when it kind of clicked, and I realized that the story here was about how Liza, after her mother's death, because people, who are younger don't realize, she was Taylor Swift. I mean, she was bigger in some ways because it was before social media. She was the #1 box office draw in the world. She was Wizard of Oz. She invented the MGM musical as part of it. And, to have that as your mother, let alone your father, Vincent Minnelli, who was one of the great directors who ever lived, and to live in that shadow. And it really wasn't until her mother tragically died from a drug overdose, when Liza was only 23, that she said, okay, I gotta be me. And that's when she sought out these incredible mentors like Halston. Some we know, Bob Fosse, the great director. Some are lesser known, Kay Thompson, Fred Ebb of Candor and Ebb, and Halston, obviously. And she kind of blossom. She let them inject her and focus her. She had the raw talent, but she needed that fine-tuning.
When she first emerged, she was very shy.
She was shy. She was shy. And you could argue she's still a little shy, but not on stage. As soon as she's on stage,
she becomes electric.
It's electric. And I think that's one of the big takeaways, certainly for us. And we have a bunch of people in our office of various age groups. And, they looked at her, and when we first saw one of the spurs to make this film was Liza found 25 hours of never before seen footage of her at her height in the 1970s,
Wow.
just after Cabaret. She had just won the Oscar, the Emmy, the Tony, and she was on tour in Europe, and a crew followed her around. And we put in these videos that hadn't been seen since, for 50 years. We press play and our jaws drop.
Sure.
The talent, the electricity, the how polished she was at the age of 23, 24, her voice, her dancing, her movement, her character, everything about it. And we said, it's just, she's bigger than life, and people forget that part of Liza because in her later years, yeah, she was in some movies, and then she had some health problems and a couple of trips to rehab. Right. So they remember her for that in her older years and don't remember her the force of talent that she was. And this film, I think, is a little bit of a corrective to say, hey, remember this woman? She was really,
I think it's
really
wonderful
talented.
that you brought it to light. That's really terrific. And tell me a little bit about yourself. Did you have film training, or
Yeah.
what brings you
Well,
to film?
I mean, my background is in writing, directing, producing. For many, many years, our company, Atlas Media, produced a lot of shows for the History Channel and Discovery Channel and Food Network and all those companies. Recently, I've kind of gone back to my root as a filmmaker myself, hands-on. So I've done 3 or 4 films now. I produced a film on the Stephen Sondheim, Hal Prince show, Merrily We Roll Along. The film was called Best Worst Thing That Ever Could Have Happened, which we opened at New York Film Festival. It was terrific. Recently I did a film that was Emmy nominated. We were very pleased on the billionaire Carl Icahn, called Icahn, the Restless Billionaire, which we made for HBO. And now we have Liza. So I kind of pride myself on not specializing in one material, one type of material, one genre. I like to kind of try different things. So from Carl Icahn, billionaire, finance world, to Liza Minnelli, you kind of...
But they're both like rock stars.
But they're both rock stars in their own way, in their own world.
And she's very hands-on when it comes to her productions, right?
Actually, I would say yes and no. She cares more than just about any performer that I've ever worked with. She cares emotionally that everything be perfect. Having said that, she defers to the great geniuses she worked with. And unlike, you or me, I mean, she worked with people like Bob Fosse and Fred Ebb and John Kander, who's in the film. And these were brilliant geniuses who she was able to, drag into her body in every single cell, and then kind of it came out as an incredible performance. So.
Does the film have a distributor yet?
Yes, but I can't. We have not announced it yet. But the film will be in theaters. Yes.
That was a trick question, but
yes.
Holding up very well.
Yes.
It's terrific.
Actually, this month we will be having.
Very good. We'll be on the lookout for it. Liza, a truly terrific, absolutely true story. Did you have anything to do with that great title?
It's Liza. Liza talks about how she never went on stage without Fred Ebb, the lyricist of Kander and Ebb, working with her on the language. And one of the introductions to her song, to one of her songs in Liza with a Z, the show, is she said, "I want to tell you a truly terrific, absolutely true story." And clearly Fred understood her so well, and understood she constantly uses the word terrific, and it's perfect. It's like it came out of Liza's mouth.
Like Jerry Lewis used to use the word terrific.
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 It's just some people like terrific.
My brother and I are fellow friars, and they named the monastery, which
Friars
is Friars
Club? I'm a friar.
You're a friar.
Yeah,
and
I know.
now it's like I guess in hiatus.
Yeah, we'll say in frozen tundra right now. Yeah.
It's going to take another century to get it going. But anyway, Jerry Lewis, they named the monastery after him. And we shot the thing, and he's another one, like iconic figure like Liza. That, oh my God, they represent show business in its truest sense.
They don't make them like that anymore, and that sounds really old-fashioned. But the bottom line is, I try to explain to people, Liza, after Cabaret, was on Time, the cover of Time and Newsweek the same week.
Wow.
Okay? That is the equivalent of getting like 1 billion views on TikTok. I mean, doesn't get bigger than that for them.
And what does she think about social media? Does she care about
it? She's on. She has a robust Instagram presence, and she does post about her friends, and she posted about the film very kindly a couple of times. So.
Very good. Well, I really appreciate you being here, David. Good luck with this beautiful film. And say hi to Liza.
Tomorrow and next Sunday. So
tomorrow and Sunday, don't miss it. And it's soon to come out. Just watch the trades.
It will be out in theaters very shortly.
First of all, welcome to the Adult Best Friends. That's the name of the movie, but they're also adult best friends. And I have with me
Delaney Buffett
and Katie Corwin.
Boy, terrific. They're beautiful and talented at the same time. Unlike my brother and myself, that are grotesque and have no talent whatsoever. So tell me a little bit about the movie. What brought you to do this beautiful film?
So we are friends in real life, and we're best friends. And we write together, and I think we wanted to write something personal. And we wanted to write, we've known each other since we were 10 years old. And now we're 32, so the growing pains of sort of exiting childhood friendship to becoming adults is something we experienced, and we thought it was a pretty universal experience, so we wanted to write about it. And it's a comedy. We definitely exaggerate a lot of it, and our characters are the worst versions of ourselves. But we hope the general idea, and people come out with it, is what makes them call their friend or they laugh. Would be amazing.
Now, do you guys have a film background? Do you go to film school?
We did not go to film school. I studied English and Delaney studied criminology, which makes perfect sense.
Which is just like film school.
I know. And but we started, we knew we wanted to write together just out of college, so we started doing web series and shorts and kind of trying to absorb everything that all of our friends who did go to film school learned. And try to take it from them.
You spared yourself all that high tuition.
Exactly right. Yeah. And no homework. And we just kind of started raising the bar from there. And then we finally felt that we were ready for our first feature.
That's great. We hear a lot of good things about it, and it's terrific. What's the most difficult thing about having a best friend? What do you think?
Well, I think for us, I live in California and she's in New York, and so I think just keeping in touch when I think priorities shift as an adult, whether it's a family or a significant other, and it's making that time, I think. When you're little, it's a lot easier, you like all the same things. You're at school together, or you have that time, but I think as an adult, it's carving out and making time for your friends in your life, because I think a lot of times they start to fall to the wayside.
And isn't it true? It's harder to make friends as you get older, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I think that's totally true. Your life's so busy. Like, you're kind of focused on yourself, on your job, on your family. You don't have time to sit around and talk about what makes you laugh with someone. So
when I take
my
granddaughters, youngsters, and when they go to the playground, no problem.
Exactly. It takes 2 seconds. Yeah, and if you're an adult, I think it's a lot harder to.
Yeah, and you're nervous. You have social anxiety. Like, you don't know how to go.
You know too much about the world to really dive in.
You always talk about your job and what you do and where you went to school. That's really nonsense. It's like, do you like Play-Doh?
Yeah.
That's
easier.
Yeah,
exactly.
Very good. Anyway, I think that, let's see, it's going to be at the East Hampton Theater. Do you have a distributor?
We are in talks of having one, but it's still early phases.
So it's available. So if anybody watching at home wants to get in touch with
Yes. We accept cash, credit, crypto.
Good. All right, it's available, and I really appreciate your time. You have fun at the festival.
Thank you.
Okay. Don't forget to go and shop because we depend.
We'll go get some merch.
Yes, go down to right on Newtown Lane. There's a lot of good shops there.
Perfect. I won't forget.
Thank you, ladies.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, meow, I'm here with American Cats, the good, the bad, and the cuddly. Is that that's a great title. Who came up with that title?
I think I did, yeah. It was, we were going through so many different cat puns, and we decided on good, the bad, and the cuddly because it really encompassed all of what this documentary is about. Emphasis on the cuddly.
Now, are you all cat owners?
At times in our lives, I think we all have them.
I currently am a cat, and you're never the owner. You're just the, I would say you're the chef and the butler and the caregiver, yes.
That's great. The cats are great pets. I have dogs, but I am very fascinated with cats. They're in a world of their own. So tell me a little bit about the movie and what brought you to make it.
Well, Jenny is a veterinarian who's been fighting for 20 years to outlaw declawing. And I'm a filmmaker who looks for the absurd things in the world, and it felt like this should be something that should be outlawed, but it's actually vets who are keeping it legal. And Jenny has been ostracized by the vet community, and I said, this is an amazing story as a cat lover and Jenny's stories, but I'll let her tell a little bit more about her.
Yeah, it's true because it leaves them defenseless, doesn't it?
Well,
it's painful.
It's declawing should be called deknuckling. It's actually the amputation of the last bone in a cat's toes. And so they amputate all these toes, and then they expect the cat to not have any pain from that. The cats have tremendous pain from it. But the problem is that 72% of American vets are still declawing, and 22% of American cats are getting declawed. So this is a very important issue to people who love cats. They need to know what they're doing to their beloved cat. It's not a simple manicure, it is deknuckling them.
Oh no, that's I didn't know that. That's horrible. Horrible. That's terrible. And I'm glad that you're championing the cause to keep their claws,
Yeah, and it's interesting because the number one enemy in the whole process of banning declawing is the veterinary medical associations. These are the trade organizations that look out for the bottom line for veterinarians.
Why is it? Is it an expensive thing to do?
It's $1 billion a year surgery. I mean, it's a profit maker. It's $1 billion a year business, and so they want to keep it going.
It's amazing. But I'm glad that I hope it gets steam to be banned because it's terrible.
It's banned in New York. We were able to ban it in New York, but the problem is the rest of the country has to ban it too. That's because people in New York who want to declaw are just going to New Jersey to do it.
And the idea of doing that to an animal is really very cruel. Very cruel.
So cruel. It would be banned if you were to ask 6-year-olds, is it okay to declaw a cat? It would be banned. But because it's a moneymaker and veterinarians kind of supersize a spay, they're like, oh, do you want to spay or neuter your animal? Do you want to also throw in the declaw when they're under anesthesia? So it's a moneymaker for them, and that's why it's not getting banned.
What a shame. And I think when they go to a shelter, don't they declaw them?
They don't generally declaw them because shelters are savvy and they know that a declawed cat is more likely to bite and less likely to use a litter box. So they know that they're going to get the cat back because once it's declawed, because they don't use the box because it hurts to dig in the sand, and they bite more because they have no other way to defend themselves.
Oh boy, amazing. So about the movie, if you look at the whole thing, if you had to summarize it in a nutshell, what would you say?
You want to take this?
Do I want to take this? We both find out about declawing, and we also follow the journey of our hero cat Burrito, and he's one cat that we met that had been declawed, and Jenny and her team of veterinarians, they actually tried to salvage his paws and make his life so much more comfortable, and ultimately, maybe I'm spoiling the film a little bit, but he does find his forever home. So there's a really beautiful story tied to some pretty heavy.
Amazing, amazing stuff. But, I didn't know that. I think that if the public knew about it, they'd say, wait a minute, that's great. Well, I know we're pressed for time. I wish you all the best. This is, let's see, it's a documentary feature. It's a premiere, which is good. Just enjoy yourselves. First time in the Hamptons? Very good. Don't forget to leave your wallet at the door. At the door. But thanks for being here. I really appreciate you being on our air, and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
It's our pleasure. I'm here with Ilya Williams, fantastic, talented woman who has an interesting story, but we're going to get to that a little later. And the movie is Border Cross. And tell me a little bit about the movie and what brought you here today.
It's a short documentary about a female medical examiner who spends 6-7 days a week trying to identify deceased border crossers that she found, that were found in the river or in the desert, trying to come into the U.S.
Southern border.
Southern border. She's from Laredo, Texas, and she has a medical office with 6 or 7 other female workers, and they work really hard to try to reunite these deceased border crossers with their families back home.
So these people are dead, they're abandoned, they try to cross, and they find them in the deserts, they find them in the water, and it's horrible. How many would you say are in that category?
The exact numbers are still rising, and there are so many people that were found that they couldn't storage them in their facilities. So they had portable cooling ice boxes that they kept the bodies in. So it really is a problem that has been described in the newspapers a lot, or in the news, and I was really curious to see what was going on.
And a lot of them are children, right?
We saw a lot of men between 16 and 28, but there are children and women.
It's horrible, and you know they make the effort to come across, and then they die like horrible deaths because they're exposed to the heat and the desert and the water and everything else. It's just disgusting, and you know it's like been overlooked by the media, by the government, and everything else. It's just a very cruel way of surviving, not surviving in this place. And what brought you to this subject?
I've read about the fact that a lot of these deceased border crossers are just being buried in like graves with no names, like John Doe graves. And then I read about this woman who is trying to give them a name and a dignified last burial. And I thought she is doing something that, how horrific the situation is, she's trying to bring hope.
And dignity.
And dignity. And in this crisis, this migrant crisis, we sometimes overlook the fact that we're all humans and we're all like to be.
And it's really gotten out of hand because, you know, if they make the trip across and they survive the coyotes and they survive the human coyotes and the actual coyotes, they're still not in any safety. They're still being prosecuted and persecuted, and it's awful. It's not what the United States should do, you know.
Well, we try to stay away about the whole political aspect of it because that's not what the film is really about. I really try to focus on the human side of it. So no matter who you're voting for, or no matter what you think about immigrants coming into the country, also it's really about the humanity of it all, that we have to keep looking at each other as human beings trying to find a better life.
Absolutely. Well, I think I got to wrap it up here, but the movie is Border Cross.
Yes.
And the name is what is it? Ilya.
Yeah.
Williams. Wilhelm. Willems. Terrific. You think it's easy with that name? You should see my name.
Yeah.
And it's international premiere, short documentary, Netherlands, and it's about 15 minutes. And go see it. It's lovely. So
I would say go see it.
And welcome to the Hamptons, dear.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
We're lucky to have Every Little Thing. It's a New York premiere, excellent. Documentary feature, Australia, terrific country. And it's 93 minutes English. And it's about my favorite subject, hummingbirds. I love hummingbirds.
Who doesn't love hummingbirds? There is something about hummingbirds.
So tell me about the film and basically what brought you to this beautiful subject?
Oh, okay. So actually it came from a place of grief. About 4 years ago during COVID, my husband was suddenly killed, and it was a great tragedy. And I was reading my way through the grief and trying to find some solace in the world. And I read this book called The Fastest Thing on Wings, and it was about a woman who rehabilitates hummingbirds in Hollywood. And there was something really healing in what she was doing and the care that she was giving to these, little chicks the size less than a walnut. Then people were bringing these birds into her, and every bird meant something to her. So I rang her and said, I've just read your book, and it really made me feel, it really helped me with my grief. And it turns out that her husband had died within 4 weeks of my husband. So I flew over to meet her, and I said, we really must do this film together. It will be good for both of us.
The kindred spirits.
Yeah.
I know we live here in East Hampton, and my wife has hummingbird feeders, and she does her own concoction.
Oh.
You have a lot of customers.
You have a lot of customers. Does she ramp up the sugar component, does she?
She does. They like her.
I bet they do.
But it's amazing. They're all over, and it's like little angels.
Yeah, that's the way, everybody has a different, they imbue hummingbirds with different things. For some it's like someone who passed that came and to visit them. A lot of people feel that way. A lot of people lost someone during COVID, and we found that was, something that the hummingbirds are from another world. They're somewhere between earth and heaven.
Right. You go to a screening, and she's going to be the subject of the screening, and it's a great movie. I recommend everybody go see it. Every Little Thing.
And the ending of the film is with Bob Marley. Every little thing is going to be all right. And it's a salve to the world. We're all going through a tough time. There's a lot of things happening in the world at the moment that are bringing us a great deal of grief and discomfort and heartache. And we hope that this film brings some lightness, beauty and magic into the world.
I'm here with Lily Siegel, and a lovely girl here who has a movie called Equal Play, and East Coast premiere, short documentary, 24 minutes in English. It covers all the right points here. So this movie's about the lives of disabled youth and how they sort of engage in transforming themselves through sports. And what brought you to this subject?
Yes, so it takes place in the UK, where I'm based now.
Thank you very much.
And essentially I have quite a personal connection. So I'm a disabled filmmaker, and I was in school 20 years ago or so, but I was facing some of the similar challenges that these kids today are still facing. Access to PE, access to sport. Not really feeling like they're fitting in anywhere. So yeah, that's really what brought me to the subject matter.
What brought you through the disability and into, mainstreaming yourself into the film community?
Sorry, what do you mean by that?
What I mean is, like, you said that there are obstacles that do they still exist?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. It's really more like teachers and schools not accommodating access needs for disabled kids. Rather, they're being not included in PE or sports, or for perhaps the facilities themselves are not accessible to them. There are literally so many barriers to it. It's really unfortunate.
Well, the barriers coming down, or they're just as present today as they were, when you were back in school?
I think disability justice has come a little bit of the way, but in the States, the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, only passed maybe 35 years ago, so that's not very long at all. But it's slowly getting better. But I feel like having this film out there is just another push to kind of go in the right direction.
Absolutely. It's amazing. It's something that people normally don't think of. But I mean, if you're a kid or you're an adult trying to engage in the mainstream community, it's very difficult. It's something that you say, well, why don't they have curves? Or, why don't they have accessible controls on a camera that would make you a better filmmaker, or things like that. But I really appreciate that you took that challenge. It's great. And just enjoy the festival. And I know you're here, and it's something that the community of filmmakers and the industry and also the citizens by and large should be aware of it. And I think your film really steps up and does such a thing, which is great. And what's your next project? What do you want to do next?
Well, I can't talk about it really, but I'm in development on some ideas. So
keep it close, because here every 4 feet there's a lawyer. So
I know, right? Well, maybe I need one. So every film needs a lawyer.
And a distributor. You need a good distributor.
That's right.
Well, I appreciate you being here. Equal Play, and it's a film that you got to see. It's East Coast premiere. And when will it be shown?
So it just premiered at like 10:40 today.
Oh, wow.
So it was in the Bodily Freedoms shorts block.
Very good. And you can be on the lookout if you're at home and you're not in East Hampton. It'll be distributed on, where do you have the film distributed?
So we are currently looking for a U.S. distributor, but if you're in the U.K. at any time soon, you can watch it on Channel 4.
Excellent. That's great. Great to see. Well, thanks for being here. We welcome you and enjoy your time here in East Hampton. Thank you. All right, we're here with a movie, another fine movie, Norman. It's so nice that they named it twice, right?
Yeah.
Very good movie, and it's world premiere documentary feature, U.S. and Jamaica, and 1924. You can tell where I'm at. It's 2024, 82 minutes. And welcome, first of all, and I have with me, of course, Gabrielle Blackwood and Charles Warburton. So welcome to the festival.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about the movie. What would you, if you had to give it like a thumbnail sketch of it, what is it about?
It follows Norman Jr., who watched his dad murder his mum when he was 7 years old, and 30 years later he goes on a quest for seeking forgiveness and answers by meeting his dad 30 years later in person.
It must be a very powerful thing.
It's very emotional. It's an emotional roller coaster, especially for him, but also I think for us filming it, the crew, it took us on quite a bit of a journey.
So the father is incarcerated?
He was shortly after the murder, but then he was deported to Jamaica, and so he stayed and lived in Jamaica for a long time. And I'm actually Jamaican, so that's how I came on board this project.
That's terrific. And did they reconcile? I mean, did the son and the father?
They met. There was a lot of emotion when someone grows up without parents. There's also a longing, which we found for, he's spent his whole life wanting parents. And so there's that aspect.
So he was raised by...
his grandmother.
Yeah, for briefly. But he's a father of 4 girls. And he is like a super dad and is searching to find his own, mother-father relationship. Yeah.
It's really tragic that at such a tender age that happens. I don't know what the situation was. You never know what goes through a murderer's mind, why he goes to that, that rage to kill somebody. And certainly your wife, your mother of your children. It's just horrible. But not to explain it away, but it must be like a terrible thing. And to carry that grief and that loss and see your child as an adult, like engaging with you, must have been unbelievable. And
I think the trauma is one side of it, meaning he wants, so for I think Norman Jr. he wants the father-son relationship. He's desperate for that. But at the same time, he feels guilty because his father killed his mother. So sometimes at points it felt like he was betraying his mother in seeking this relationship with his father. So there's the trauma, and then there's also reconciling those emotions within himself. And then there's also the reconciliation.
so can we ever, as human beings, reconcile a tragedy that deep?
I think so. I think it takes a lot of forgiveness. But I also think, as you know, in forgiveness, it doesn't necessarily mean that the hurt and the pain is gone. So I think that's something he will always be working through.
Yeah.
And I think through his actions now, he's trying to.
I think you can heal somewhat, but reconcile perhaps never.
My brother and I went to Catholic schools, and during a time it was like very strict and everything. And I remember one chaplain describing if you do something and it's wrong, it's like driving a nail in a board, and then if you get forgiveness, that nail is removed, but the hole is still there. You know what I mean?
It's a great visual.
And thinking about it, it's something that you could imagine, like what this fella's going through, and also the father. You know, it's something that I'm pretty sure he regrets a million times every day. But it's something that we, But it's a great movie, very intriguing, and we recommend people to go see Norman. Remember,
tomorrow, 2:45, Sunday the 6th.
Excellent, and we got the two great filmmakers. First time in the Hamptons.
I've been before. I'm based in New York, so.
Oh, very good. Don't forget to leave your wallets right there on Newtown Lane. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Good luck with everything. Take care. I'm Greg Shimizi with Hamptons Television, and we welcome you to the 32nd annual Hamptons Film Festival. And here's the official catalog, but you could actually see this catalog and all the films and clips and stuff by visiting hamptonsfilmfest.org, and you could book tickets, you can find out what's going on, and it's an action-packed week, and we hope you can come down and see the films here in person.
"11 days of the hottest films of the season here first. Passes and packages available now. Follow us for the latest news at Hamptons Film.